To understand where Dophkah and Alush are located requires looking carefully at what Moses described happening just before and after the great throng passed through these two locations. We know for certainty that the congregation of Israel entered the wilderness of Sin 30 days after leaving Egypt. This, of course, was just after camping beside the sea at current-day Magna. So the entire group had to be here, in current-day Neom. They did not go to Wadi Rum or other fake wilderness sites between a fake Elam and Sinai. I was recently at the geographic focal point of this slice of the story, a specific path where Israel would have emerged from the sea to make the turn south into the wilderness of Sin. After making that turn, a few days had to go by for the great miracles of quail blowing in and then manna falling. There is a large trucking maintenance site here at the junction, with much activity because Neom is using thousands of trucks in their massive construction project. Here is a drone flight that looks back towards the sea and then begins flying east towards the large expanse of wilderness. Recall this wilderness is in front of the Horeb region and Mount Sinai. As I parked in this empty lot, quietly flying my drone, a really scary dude drove by in a small brown truck and appeared to be cussing and swearing as he looked right at me. It scared me enough to hit the return home button on my drone and then pack up. I rarely ever hit that button. The next area that I wanted to stop at was only a couple of miles or so east from this dusty junction of Elam, the camp by the sea, and the wilderness. It was quite specific in that it is located about 20 miles south from the entrance to Rephidim. Presuming that the congregation was traveling about 8 to 12 miles a day, and assuming no gaps in the itinerary, then this general area has to be Dophkah. So there in ancient Dophkah, I parked in a large empty lot northeast of intersecting roads beside a large power line stretching east to west. As I was flying the drone, suddenly a very kind-looking gentleman wearing the typical Saudi Arabia keffiyeh, or the coif, or the shamag, I'm not sure exactly what they call it, drove up close, opened the door of his fancy white SUV, and then looked right at me, smiling. He then went on to say in perfect English as he was lifting his right thumb up, "You're doing a great job," and drove off. I was freaked out. What was that? It was just so quick. That never happens anywhere. Luckily, I got my drone down safely and moved on, but could not forget the scary-looking dude with the beard in a rundown truck swearing. Then a pleasant elderly man showing up, smiling and giving words of encouragement. Wow, it's wild. Those encounters gave me much to think about. I next stopped upstream beside the large dried riverbed north of town. From that southern edge of Dophkah where I was filming to this compound is about 5 miles, but once you reach this very interesting strategic place, it's only 10 more miles to Alouch. Yeah, that would have been totally awesome to see water flowing through here like any other city back then. Yeah. I could imagine Jethro living beside this strategic rock hidden from the north-south trade route. Moving on, I concluded that Alouch has to fit with a specific conjunction of wadis opening up into a large flat area where the current-day highway goes through. I had marked the latitude of this specific area before leaving the hotel in the morning, just so I would not miss this site. It has to be the campsite because it's 10 miles south to the entrance of Rephidim. I really like this campsite. It's got surface water, it's got plenty of room, and the main entrance to Rephidim from the north-south highway is 6 miles, and then the safety of Rephidim, 10 miles. Now, let's discuss Amalek. Reading from Deuteronomy 25:17 to 19, we find that Amalek cut off or attacked on the road. He smote the rear. He hurt exhausted stragglers as they fled to Rephidim.
Split Rock area. This is probably the approach the Amalekites had to attack. They're putting in a road. It's looking pretty nice. It used to be so bumpy to come in here.
This most likely means an attack from the south. But it could also mean an attack from the main road if the Amalekites came from the north. Such a meeting would happen as the last of the congregation was making its way into the safety of Rephidim. Either way, once the entire congregation reached the gates of Rephidim, Joshua would be able to mount a defense in the strategic corridor between the outer and inner gates that have the making of a perfect defensive kill zone. It is a natural narrow valley with high rock walls on both sides. This terrain is almost identical to what Alexander the Great faced at the Persian gates, where he finally broke through and then looted and sacked Persepolis. Or 480 BC, when Xerxes came to Greece and attacked at the hot gates of Thermopylae, and there defeated the Spartans. So the big difference in these battles is that the weaker opponents, if they don't have Jehovah, they're going to lose. So Moses, Joshua, Aaron, Hur, Israel that day defeated a more powerful enemy. The high altitude shots reveal extensive natural fortifications. The much higher north gate would provide a perfect lookout post to give warning of an impending charge. I imagine the silver trumpets of Numbers 10 being used to rally the troops. But if they were not yet made, then ram's horns, of course, could do the job. The surrounding hills would be perfect for archers, slingers, and mere stone throwers. Moses could have been standing with Aaron and Hur on the south tower or on the small rock hill behind the battle. The Hebrew word is higabah, or small hill. These hills fit. We are so fortunate to still have these ancient sites to view, and it is amazing how untouched they are. Sadly, with Trojena going in behind Rephidim, this area could soon be all paved over with a parking lot. The Bible narrative of these events matches the terrain in perfect fashion. This story is not a fable. The Bible can be trusted.